The Office of the Coordinator of Inter-American Affairs presents Wings over Brazil. To conquer the air, to soar through space, to master the sky has been from the beginning of time the dream of earthbound man. In every age and in every clime, the idea of flight has fired his imagination. The account of his ascent into ethereal regions is an odyssey of suffering, pain, and blood. Among the early martyrs was the Brazilian priest Bartolomeu de Gusmão. In Lisbon in 1709, he conceived and built a flying machine. Failure to make it fly brought him ridicule, imprisonment, and later exile. Almost 2 centuries later, another Brazilian, Augusto Severo, designed and built a dirigible. In an attempt to fly it over Paris, this fine scholar and statesman fell to his death. It remained for yet another Brazilian, Alberto Santos Dumont, to write his name in glory on the fabled pages of aviation history. On October 19, 1901, in Paris, this quiet, self-effacing, but intrepid little man concluded a successful flight around the Eiffel Tower in his own hand-built dirigible. 5 years later, on October 23, 1906, in a heavier-than-air machine, the airplane, he made the epic flight that earned him immortal esteem and the praise of the world. France acclaimed him as the father of aviation. Our own great Edison sent him an autographed picture. On it he wrote, "To Santos Dumont, the pioneer of the air, homage from Edison." Brazil, wrote an historian, has a predestination for aviation. As though to consecrate these words and the deeds and memories of those gallant Brazilian airmen who flew into eternity in an effort to strengthen and multiply the wings over Brazil, on January 20th, 1941, President Getulio Vargas created the office of Minister for Air and appointed to this important post the Honorable Salgado Filho. The new minister amalgamated the existing Army and Navy air schools into a single organization, the Escola de Aeronautica. In command of this up-to-the-minute institution is able Colonel Diot Fontanelli. Each year to this modern aviation school come thousands of young men from all parts of Brazil. Since only 300 new cadets can be accommodated annually, competition for appointment is very keen. Thus, the school is able to maintain exceptionally high standards and an esprit de corps unexcelled by any other aviation school in the world. Although many months of rigorous work, strict discipline, and intensive application lie ahead before a cadet will earn the coveted wings and a commission as an officerman, an honor and a privilege. On entrance, the cadet receives a thorough physical examination. He will have repeated checkups during his stay. Failure to pass these periodic physical examinations means washing out. To avoid this, a cadet works long and hard at keeping fit. In comfortable and well-ventilated quarters, the cadets sleep, and yes, the common enemy of soldiers the world over. Up we go, fellas, and a brisk march to breakfast. The day's work begins. A class in radio communication. Learning to identify aircraft. Gunnery practice. find flying in a link trainer. Instruction in motor repair. An improperly folded parachute may cost a life. Each student is taught the correct way of preparing his own parachute. Taxiing, taking off, and landing are taught in primary trainers. This proud cadet is completing his first solo flight. A perfect landing. His classmates dragged the reluctant cadet to the traditional dunking pool. Over-enthusiasm turns this dunking party into a free-for-all. Days roll into weeks and weeks into months. Months filled with hard work, diligent application, new friends, and rich experiences. The day of days arrives. Graduation. Wings over Brazil and Brazilian pilots to fly them. One day, they shall again fly over Brazil's peaceful and smiling land. But now, as an active partner in the United Nations, Brazil is at war to the limit of her capacity. As convoys move up and down her long coast, carrying vital Brazilian foodstuffs and strategic materials to her fighting allies, her planes and her pilots maintain day and night vigil against the Axis undersea marauder. Working in complete harmony and cooperation with the United States Air Forces, they are helping to sweep the South Atlantic free of enemy submarines. Indeed, their record of sinkings is one they can well be proud of. While the Battle of the South Atlantic continues, Brazil, in her eagerness to carry the fight to the enemy's soil, is stepping up her training program by sending her pilots to the United States for advanced combat instruction. Even today, as Brazil's grown sons are fulfilling her predestination for aviation, her children and young boys are standing by to become her pilots of tomorrow. Brazil needs these air-minded young people, for Brazil is a large country, occupying more than half of South America. Huge mountain ranges, precipitous escarpments, giant rivers, thick jungles and forests have made the development of land transportation difficult, if not impossible. The miraculous wings of the airplane have made Brazil's dream of tomorrow a reality today. For today, within her far-flung borders, a network of air routes cross and crisscross. Airports have been developed everywhere. Among the more outstanding ones are Belém, gateway to the Amazon, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil's city of fabled beauty, São Paulo, the fastest growing city in the world. Porto Alegre, gateway to the granary of Brazil and home of the gaucho. Greatest of these, and one that has achieved worldwide fame, is the airport in Natal. It is this gigantic and strategically situated airbase which served as a springboard for invasion in the African campaign, and which helped make possible the speedy victory won there by the United Nations. It's from this base at Natal that planes, men, and critical materials are flown to the battlefronts on 3 continents. Through this base, too, pass our wounded on their way to military hospitals in the United States. Yes, today, from Brazil's land and sea bases, through her friendly skies, speed men and planes to and from the war zone. The United States Navy sent its proud Mars to Brazil on its first war mission. It returned carrying 35,000 pounds of Brazilian strategic materials to defense plants in the United States. Today, the thunder of war reverberates through Brazil's skies. Tomorrow, as was the fervid hope of Alberto Santos Dumont, her skies shall be air routes to peace, trade, and better understanding among men. The earthly remains of Santos Dumont lie buried in a pretty cemetery in Rio de Janeiro. To perpetuate his memory, his countrymen have erected in reverence a magnificent monument. But no greater tribute would this modest man desire, were he alive, than to be able to cast his eyes skyward and behold there wings over Brazil.